All right, here we are, everyone. What's the title for today? Yeah, I came up with a title, but I don't remember what it was. Doesn't remember. We don't need a title.
It's 2.47.
Oh,
And then Raja had a little topic. How do we know that whether Krishna is happy with us or not?
yeah, we're going to talk about a couple of things today. We're going to talk about prescribed duties and how do we know when Krishna is happy with us. So we're going to go to verse in Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, 47th verse. 247. So Krishna says, just a small print, but I'll squint and read it. Karamanyeva hikaraste ma palesho kadachana ma karma palaheturvur mate sango swakarmani. Krishna says, you, that means all of us, have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So I'll read the verse again. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty. Everyone has a right to their own prescribed duty. But you're not entitled to the fruits of your action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duties. So Prabhupada says very nicely in the
Coop, you got 15 seconds, just under 15 seconds. Coop, get it. Come on.
turn off your speakers, everyone. Okay, so can you show the purport?
Sure.
Purport's easier to read on the. Prabhupada says there are three considerations here: prescribed duties, capricious work, and inaction. So prescribed duties are the duties that come with your mentality. And Prabhupada will explain this more later. Capricious work is work that you just do without instruction, without following any guidelines. You just do it. Some people think
So is
that
this karma, vikarma, karma? Is that?
no. So it's work, and a lot of people think that's really cool to be able to do that. Just act, whatever you feel, just do it. So in other words, shoot into the dark and see if you hit anybody. Maybe there's nobody there, you see. Maybe I can do something and I won't get any bad result. So it's doing without thinking. And some people think, hey, that's really a lot of fun. That's really it's even romantic, And some people think it's just downright silly. You see? So, and then there's inaction. So Prabhupada says prescribed duties are activities enjoined in terms of one's acquired modes of material nature. I'll come back and explain that in just a minute. I'm going to read the whole purport and then we'll go back. Capricious work means actions without the sanction of authority, and inaction means not performing one's prescribed duty. How do you make it go up?
I just scrolled.
Okay, a little bit more.
The Lord advises.
Oh, okay, no.
Yeah, it's all.
The Lord advises that Arjuna not be inactive, but that he perform his prescribed duty without being attached to the result. So this is something we need. This is, we have to meditate on what Krishna is saying here. So Krishna is telling Arjuna not to be inactive. Arjuna is saying, I'll just go to the forest. Krishna, no, that would be avoiding your prescribed duties. You have prescribed duties as a Kshatriya, to protect and to serve the populace. So Krishna says, don't be inactive, but perform your prescribed duty without being attached to the result. Therein is something that's kind of like a dividing line amongst material and spiritual activities. Doing work attached to the result, what does that bring you?
Yeah.
Reaction. So now I'm doing work, I'm attached to the result, so I get the reaction, good or bad. You see? So that's not recommended. Krishna is saying here, don't be attached to the result. But there is a result, right? There should be a result if I do actions.
Consequence.
Yeah, there should be a result. But who owns that result?
Krishna.
Krishna, he gets the results of everything. He's the ultimate benefactor of all of our seva, all of our yajna, tapasya. Maybe could you turn it down, fan, one more time? So Krishna is telling Arjuna, don't be inactive. Perform your prescribed duty without being attached to the result. And one who is attached to the result of his work is also the cause of his action. See, now there we're getting into answering your question. One who is attached to the result of his work is also the cause of the action. What does that mean? Because I want, for me, I'm causing myself to act. But if I want for Krishna, or if I want to serve you, then I'm not the cause. That's not causing me to act. I'm not causing me to act. You see what I mean? I am the cause of my actions when I want the result. I'm attached to the result.
So when we act for Krishna, Krishna is the cause.
Right. Our love for Krishna and our desire to serve Krishna. Even if it doesn't matter if Krishna may not have told us, hey, I want you to do this action. We may have anticipated Krishna's desire. You see? At some point, the relationship should get like that. Between people who love each other, they know each other so well, they can anticipate. My husband's coming home, he's going to want this, and I know he's going to want that. It's Saturday, and I know my wife is going to want this, and she's going to want me to do that. See, we anticipate. So this is it's a very loving thing. Prabhupada, I've told this story many times, but I never get tired of telling it. Prabhupada had many different personal servants, and they were all very good. But one of them he considered the best. It was Shruti Kirti. So why? Because Shruti Kirti could anticipate Prabhupada's needs. If Shruti Kirti was in the room and he felt a little bit of a chill, then he would go get Prabhupada's chatter, anticipating Prabhupada is probably going to want his chatter. He could tell by the angle of Prabhupada's glass how much water would be left in it, when to fill it up, without Prabhupada asking. He was just paying attention out of love, attachment for Prabhupada's comfort. Looking out like a mother does for children. I guess fathers do some of that too, but mostly mothers. They need to get the credit here. They're always anticipating what the child is going to need, you see. So out of love, we may anticipate what Krishna wants because we know our beloved Krishna. So therefore, we're not the cause of our actions. Our love for Krishna is. Does that make any sense? Mm-hmm. Thus, he is the enjoyer, one who is attached to the result of his work, also is the cause of the action. Thus, he is the enjoyer or sufferer of the result of such actions. If I'm the cause, then I get to enjoy or suffer the result of my actions. So this is kind of like akarma. This is what it is, something that I do as an offering of love to Krishna has no karma. Devotional service has no karma, no good, no bad. You see? It's in the mode of pure goodness. So Prabhupada goes on, as far as prescribed duties are concerned, they can be fitted into 3 subdivisions, namely routine work, emergency work, and desired activities. Routine work performed as an obligation in terms of the scriptural injunctions without desire for results is action in the mode of goodness. So routine work performed in the, as an obligation in terms of the scriptural injunctions without desire for result, that's action in the mode of goodness. Let me read that again somewhere. Did you move it?
No.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry if I'm zooming in here.
That's okay. Yeah, I got it. Okay, routine work performed as an obligation in terms of the scriptural injunctions without desire for results is action in the mode of goodness. Work with results becomes the cause of bondage. If I'm doing something with a desired result for me, then that's the cause for bondage. I'm attached to that reaction, whether it's good or bad. Therefore, such work is not auspicious. Everyone has his proprietary right in regard to prescribed duties, but should act without attachment to the result. Such disinterested obligatory duties doubtlessly lead one to the path of liberation. Let me read that again. I'm going to have to use the lozenge because my throat's getting kind of dry. Okay. Thank you. Sorry. I had an attack of the dry throat. So, all right. Everyone has proprietary right in regard to prescribed duties. What does that mean?
And what is it can do perspective?
Yeah.
Right.
You have a right. Krishna said in the verse, you have a right to do your prescribed duties. Arjuna, you're a warrior. You're a kshatriya. You have a right to tell people, you can't do that. You can't do this action. That's against the law. You have that right. Now, anybody else says that, then people that you're talking to, they can say, oh yeah, well, that's just your opinion, leave me alone. You see? But the Kshatriya, when the Kshatriya tells you, you have to do this, this is according to the law, if you do this, then I have the right to tell you. I have the authority to tell you. You see? Like that. Everyone has this proprietary right in regard to prescribed duties, but should act without attachment to the result. There we go again. Krishna is saying, don't be attached to the result. Man, that's hard, isn't it? I want to do it, and I want to get credit for it. I want to put it on Facebook and tell everybody, hey, look at me. Look what I did. Here's a picture of what I did. Look at this. Look at this thing that I did. Here's my picture. I want the whole world to see it. I want you to know what I did. So nowadays, people take pictures of like everything, Remember in the time when you had to have pictures developed? You had to take the film out of the camera, take it to the drugstore, leave it with them. They would develop it, give it back to you. So, and people took a lot of pictures, but nowhere near as many as they take now. They take pictures of everything. It's just like the younger people, they take pictures constantly. They sit down to eat. Oh, click. Everything they see. What happens to all those pictures?
Instagram.
They go on, many of them go on Instagram, a lot of them, but many of them just end up on, what are those, what are the memories in the phones called?
Storage.
iCloud. Cloud space.
Or maybe they go onto the cloud or, they're on their phone. So there's so much, an incredible amount of data out there. People have taken pictures because I want you to see what I did and what I want you to see what I saw. Look, I saw this. Click, look at this tree. Look at this. So anyway, people want to be recognized for their accomplishments and the things that they do. All right. So that's okay. If I'm making an offering of love to Krishna, I shouldn't be attached to someone recognizing the recognition for doing what I did as an offer of love. It's okay if you're just an average, unspiritually educated person moved by the laws of material nature. Then you're going to follow. You're going to follow the herd. Hey, everybody does it. We have a tendency to do what everybody does. And I want to be seen for what I did. Well, you put pictures up of what you do, so I think that's what we all do. So I need to get in there too. You see? So if I'm doing something as an offering of love to Krishna, then it doesn't matter who sees it. Krishna sees it. Krishna is satisfied. All right? What happens when Krishna is satisfied? Everybody's satisfied.
And we ourselves are satisfied.
Huh?
We ourselves are satisfied.
We ourselves are satisfied. So then how do we know when we're making Krishna happy? Because you're happy. You're doing activity that makes you happy. Like the Pujari, when the Pujari dresses the Murti so nicely. And then they open the curtain and there, the Pujaris in Dallas in the old days, I'm sure they do still now, but we used to go out and look at the deities, we would dress the deities, then we would open the curtain, and then we would do the arti to the deities. we used to have these, they don't do it anymore. Unfortunately, we lost this. We used to have these burners, these charcoal, pieces of charcoal, and we would put like a tablespoon of frankincense on there with the curtains closed after the deities are finished. And so the frankincense would burn and burn. There would be this thick smoke of frankincense, smelled wonderful. Then when we opened the curtain, all of that prasadam frankincense would come out and just spread through the temple room, and they were playing Govinda Madi Pursha. I mean, it was just a spectacular event. So they don't burn that anymore. So, as a matter of fact, anymore, we'll offer a stick of incense to the deity, then take it outside like it's going to kill somebody. So, but times have changed. So, you can see the deity is looking very beautiful. He's very happy. I dressed the deity. I'm feeling wonderful. Now, what if I look at the deity and I'm not happy? I'm thinking, oh, I put his tilak on so crooked today. I don't think he's happy. So now I'm not feeling happy. You see what I mean? So if Krishna is happy, and I know he's happy from my activities, because I know what's good. I know the difference between right and wrong. Surely we do, right? So I can tell, I should be able to tell that activity, this decision that I made was the right one. That's pleasing to Guru and Krishna. Bring the Guru into the picture. The Guru can tell you. I wonder, is Krishna happy with me? If the Guru's happy with you, then why wouldn't Krishna be? If he's bona fide Guru, isn't it like that? So sometimes we may wonder if we may feel that we failed Krishna, and that makes us feel unhappy. Now, is that a good sign? Yeah, it's a very good sign. Sometimes we may do something that we feel has made the Guru unhappy. Guru and Krishna are unhappy. I just know it. That's a good sign because I care. I care. You see? I can't remember the word. What's the word? The opposite of love is not hate. It's indifference. Indifference means I really don't care how you feel. I'm so indifferent. I don't care if you live or die. I'm so indifferent. I don't care if I ever see you again. I mean, it won't make me neither happy nor sad. So you could disappear from existence and I wouldn't even miss you. So indifference is the opposite of love. So if I can do activities and be indifferent, I don't care what God thinks. Why should I care what the Guru thinks? I have free will. You see, that is going to, if you have any sincerity, that's going to cause you some pain. Later on, it's going to cause you something. But we may suffer thinking that I don't think I did that properly. That's just the nature of love. I should have done that better. Maybe you did it perfectly. Maybe everyone is saying, oh no, the deity is dressed so beautiful today. And you're thinking, I don't like the way I put his turban on. It's just not because of love. To the degree that I have love for you, I will not be happy or satisfied with the service that I perform for you. I want it to be better. It may be fantastic, but because of this What was that song Elvis sang? Crazy Little Thing Called Love? I think it was Elvis or somebody. Crazy little thing called love. Because of this crazy little thing called love, you care. And therefore, you may be feeling some anxiety that I don't think I did this properly. You might have. And sometimes you may feel the pleasure of Krishna. Most of the time, you will. You do something correctly, you do the right thing, make the right decision, and you can tell Krishna's satisfied. You see? Because you do. You feel satisfied. You were sincere. You weren't trying to please yourself. You're trying to please Krishna. And so therefore you can understand. Does that make any sense? Do you have any questions about that before we move on? Want to discuss that, or do you want to let me finish the purport and then we'll go back and.
So when we talk about the cause, where Krishna says that don't consider yourself the cause of the results of your actions, right? That's what he says.
Yeah.
So that's only when you are doing your work as an offering to him.
Right.
Because sometimes we also say, well, if you got some negative results from your work, that is because you desired it. And you are responsible because it was your karma. So there, it's not, we are not saying that do not consider yourself. You're not thinking that I should not consider myself the cause of the results of my actions. There.
But what he's saying is keep yourself in a position that you're not the cause. Let me read that. But never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So keep yourself in that position where you're not, how does he say it? To where you're not considering yourself the cause.
And that can happen only when we do our work as an offering to him.
Right.
If we are
when I'm doing it for my own desire,
yeah.
or for the result, I want the result. Now I'm considering myself the cause, because I am. You see, I want to do this for me. I will gain from it. And so I'm not concerned whether Krishna will gain or he's happy or whatever. I'm the cause. Because I want to claim that. I want to claim that. I want the result, and I want you to know that I was the cause. I did this.
Now, some people might object and say that doesn't give me much motive to do the work.
That's true for the material consciousness. You see, we're talking about an offering of love to Krishna. So if I'm a fruitive worker, I'm doing something and I get paid for it. Well, I kind of need to keep the boss happy. You know, like the people that work for you, they got to keep you happy. So they've got to do like that. And so you're in that fruitive mentality. I'm doing this to keep my job, to get my pay, whatever. Well, that's material. However, if I do the same job as an offering to Krishna, I'm doing my profession as an offering to Guru and Krishna. I will do it better out of love than I will out of fear of the boss or fear of losing my job. Love is a much bigger motivating factor.
Or could that be that I see Krishna in my boss also, and his orders are things that come from Krishna?
You could. I have my instruction from my boss. And so now how I perform that duty that's been handed to me from my superior I'm offering that to Krishna. Now, of course, you're going to get paid, but you're not doing it to be attached to your pay. That's kind of like a side effect. In that frame of mind, you'll be a better employee, better engineer, better doctor, better whatever, because you're doing this to please the Guru and Krishna. You're stimulated by love. That's the return, not fear. I'd better do this better or my boss will throw me out. I better do what he says just to keep him happy. No, this is, I'm being handed my prescribed duty. And I'm going to demonstrate to Guru and Krishna how I can do my prescribed duty perfectly. Does that make any sense? Will that clear it up? Time to take a pill. Can you guys hold on out there while I take a pill? Isn't it a nuisance to have a material body? No matter how we struggle to keep it healthy, I'm performing loving devotional service to my body. I've got some. Okay. Hey, it worked. I got my pill down. So does that straighten it out, or you still have questions with it?
No, I think I'm okay. So one more thing. So when, like you said, whenever there's inner fulfillment, you know that you made Krishna happy, right? That's a sign that
Yeah.
the result may be whatever, but if during the course of your performing the actions, you felt that you did your best, basically that's.
And you were loving. You were doing it lovingly.
Yeah, as an offering to him. But the end result may not be great, at the end you may fail or whatever, but the journey itself is what matters.
Because you're doing it as an offering to him. It may be completely imperfect, but it's the intention of you giving this offering. Good example. You remember when Radha was a little girl?
Mm-hmm.
Seems like it was just a week ago she was a little girl. I'd come over here and now she's going to med school. What's happening here with this time? So wouldn't she maybe draw a card for you on your birthday or on Father's Day? A little stick person. And it would be all messy and it wasn't good art at all. So the quality was rotten. She'd probably misspell the words, quality rotten. But didn't it make you happy? Mm-hmm. To you, the recipient of the love, oh, this is darling. Many people, huh?
It decorated my office.
Yeah, many parents collect things like that. It goes to the office. Everybody, I want everyone to see. Look. What is it that you're showing off? Look what a great artist my daughter is. No, I want to share this love. I'm feeling such love. I'm so happy from this little imperfect. So Guru and Krishna are like that. It may not be perfect. It most of the time is not going to be. But the Guru and Krishna can see and they can taste this, your intention. Your intention was to please, and that's golden. That will take you back home, back to Godhead. intending to please. So who is the recipient of the result of that? When she gave you that little card, you got the result. You were happy. She could tell you're happy. You see? You see, that it works like that. So how do we know when Krishna is happy? When you're happy. You should be able to tell. We should get close enough to Krishna to where we can tell. I remember Tamal Krishna Maharaj had some disciples that were very close to him, you know, Maturnath and Rupanuga, Radhanath, and Arjun Krishna. And so I would have a meeting with him. You know, say there's a meeting at 2:00. And so here I'm coming down the hall to his office, and I'd see one of them outside the door, and I'd say, kind of mood's he in today? They never looked at me and said, well, I don't know. They knew exactly because they were interested. They were interested. They were attached out of love. They knew that move. So that was a very valuable piece of information for me to have before I tapped on that door to go in. You know, what kind of mood is he in? So we should always just try our best. We just have to do our best. Now, you're probably never going to do your best because you are part and parcel of Krishna and you're not limited to the abilities of this body. You have spiritual potency, not just material potency of how strong you can lift, you know, or how much you've memorized from school or whatever. You have much more potency than that. So as you get into the spiritual energy, your perfection will manifest more and more. Prabhupada used to talk of the art of doing a thing perfectly, and that requires intense love. You will polish it and make it perfect. Not because you're forced to or afraid of the consequences if you don't do it, because of that burning desire to please. You see, even science knows this, that you get more results with the carrot than you do the stick. With children, employees, it's a proven fact. So if you're driven by love, then your activities will be more and more perfect. Did I finish that report?
No. Yeah, I just stopped sharing so everyone could see.
Okay. See, where did I leave off? In regard to prescribed duties, but should act without it. Okay. Robert says, okay. Arjuna was therefore advised by the Lord to fight as a matter of duty without attachment to the result. Do your duty. Don't be attached to the result. That belongs to me. It's like we used to tell book distributors when they would go out and they're having a bad day. They're out just trying to distribute Prabhupada books and they're only maybe distributing one or two. And we tell them, and it's really hard, don't be attached to the result. They belong to Krishna. You do your best. It's good that you feel anxiety because you're not living up to your expectations that you have put on yourself. That's good. But go ahead. Continue. Do you have a question?
Yeah, but sometimes like when we do our duty, like the distinction is 100%. 100% we are doing for Krishna. But sometimes while doing our duty, we should know that like it's for Krishna or for my sense gratification, right? So maybe like sometimes we are doing for our sense gratification.
Oh, yeah.
Or really it's for
We
Krishna.
saw a lot of that.
Yeah.
People would be out distributing and they would be trying to do more books than him. I want to do more books than Gorgadadhar today. Or Ravindra. He's been doing a lot. I want to do more than him. So now, I'm distributing Prabhupada's books, but I want to be high on that list of producers for fame, recognition, you see. That kind of taints it a little bit.
One thing in that context, but didn't Prabhupada encouraged a spiritual competition between the different temples?
As long as we would keep it spiritual, yeah, Prabhupada encouraged this competition.
No, but sometimes like other, the distribution or some other one, which are not book distribution, like book distribution, we do income, still we are doing distributing spiritual books. But some other way from we are doing something other and we are thinking it's for Krishna, but we are doing for our senses.
Well, now sometimes we may be convinced. We may trick our mind into thinking, oh, I'm doing this for Krishna, when really you're doing it for yourself. We don't always have a clear understanding of our own motivation. We don't. That's called illusion.
Maya.
And we have a tendency to be affected by the material energy.
So how can we get out of it?
We have to take your temperature every so often. Sometimes you do something, whenever you do something, if it has any importance at all, ask yourself, what mode were you in? If you find yourself angry at somebody, just say to yourself, okay, what mode are we in right now? Is this the mode of goodness? I think not. So you can talk to yourself like that. You can chastise yourself much heavier than you'll let anybody else. So you can say to yourself, are we really being Krishna conscious here? Or are we being naughty? So you have to learn. You have to learn how to keep up with what is the motivation for me to say this, for me to do this. It's like people that are doing like these race car drivers going around the track 200 miles an hour. They constantly have to look at their gauges. Look down. Is my oil pressure good? Am I overheating? They have to do that. They have to keep up with how things are working, or else the whole thing might fail. See? So we need to keep track of our performance. Keshava Bharti Maharaj, he and I traveled together for several months. And I was amazed that he kept a record of everything. How many rounds he chanted every day? Back decades. When he gave class, realizations that he got from class, how many classes he attended, how many classes he didn't attend. He kept a record. It was a report card on him, for him, that he would study from time to time. And he would say, I need to do better at this or better at that. This was important to him. I'm sure he still does it. When you're in a habit after 30 or 40 years of doing something, it's kind of hard to drop the habit, isn't it? So, no, it was amazing. So, no, we have to pay attention to ourselves. That's not so hard. And cut ourselves a little bit of slack once in a while, but most of the time don't cut ourselves so much slack.
Like we'll have to take a look at what is working and what is not working.
You need to take a look at it. Yeah. And, don't cut yourself too much slack, but don't beat yourself up too much. That's almost as bad, And it can also be a reason to get into Maya intentionally. Well, you're not a good devotee anyway. You might as well do something nonsense. Or I'm so fallen. I'm so unfortunate. Oh, well, if you're fallen, get unfallen. And no, you're not unfortunate. You have the holy name, so you're the most fortunate. See, so don't let yourself get get the blues. You get the blues, get out of them. You have no right to stay in the blues. You have Krishna. You have the devotee association. You have the holy name. You have prasadam. You have it all. You have no reason for the blues. Get out of the blues. Don't let yourself do that. Some people want to self-inflict suffering on themselves. And, psychologists can explain the reasons why. I don't remember why, but sometimes people do that. Sometimes it's from their childhood. You might have had people in your childhood that were always convincing you that you were not adequate. And so you've got that etched in your psyche, I'm not adequate. And so you set yourself up to fail. This is a psychological program. This shouldn't happen to the devotee. You're part and parcel of Krishna. Until you came in contact with the material energy, you were completely 100% perfect. You still are perfect. You're just bewildered by the material energy, by thinking you're this body, thinking that you're part of this world. And so then we come under the spell of the material energy. And what happens? We start to feel blue. We start to lament. And not lament because we're not doing our duty nice enough to please Krishna. But we're lamenting for so many other things that we caused. You see? So we have to just stay fixed on pleasing Guru and Krishna. Acting in the mode of pure goodness. That'll save you from all of this. It saves you from the modes. You see? Now, we have to engage in the mode of passion to do our job. When you go to the office, you've got to get in the mode of passion. So, but it's controlled passion. You see? Sometimes for us to perform, we have to get in the mode of ignorance. Don't we? We've got to go to happy hour and throw down a few beers. No. We've got to get in the mode of ignorance by sleeping. Sometimes your body just needs rest. And it's not going to work if you don't give it to it. So sleeping is in the mode of ignorance, but it's controlled. Controlled ignorance. If you're chanting Hare Krishna a lot and hearing Krishna Katha a lot, that includes reading, discussing Krishna Katha, then chances are you're going to have some pretty nice dreams. Your dreams will be influenced by the spiritual potency, not the negative influence from the material potency. So it's controlled ignorance. See? Stay in the mode of pure goodness. Do it as an offering of love. Then you'll be happy. You see? It's the difficulty is we always start to consider our own self-interest. You see? And in the material world, that's considered the smart thing to do. You've been told all your life, you've got to look out for yourself. You've got to take care of yourself. Yeah, if you're running with wolves, you do. If you're out in the world of demons, yes, you got to look out. You got to watch your back. So purify your association as much and as often as you can. Get around people that you can trust. When there's the ability to trust the people that are around you, that opens the door for love. Love and trust go hand in hand. How do you love somebody you don't trust? Boy, that's crazy. What is it they call it? Amorful? Amor, it's French, I think. Amor faux. Crazy love. You know, people that meet in the bar in Las Vegas and wake up the next morning married. Crazy love. You know, I'm motivated by self-interest only, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. So that was all fun while it lasted. Now suffer, time to suffer. You see. But if we stay in the mode of pure goodness, that eliminates this suffering. You see? So, Arjuna, I can finish it. Arjuna was therefore advised by the Lord to fight as a matter of duty without attachment to the result. His non-participation in the battle was another side of attachment. He was attached to enjoying his family. Your family should be an offering to Krishna. Such attachment never leads one to the path of salvation. Any attachment, positive or negative, is cause for bondage. Inaction is sinful. Therefore, fighting as a matter of duty was the only auspicious path of salvation for Arjuna. So, any questions or comments?
I have a question. You were just talking about distribution of preaching. I guess this extends to beyond preaching too, but particularly for preaching, we hear there's many different aspects, like our own purity, and then the response and the background of the other person. How much does everything factor in to how receptive the other person is to devotional service?
How much does
Our own devotional service with the other person's interest? How does everything factor into it?
Well, I remember back in the 80s, I was kind of an independent agent with Aetna Life and Casualty, big insurance company. Are they still around? Aetna?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, like all big, incredibly huge companies, they like to spend a lot of money doing research. We want to sell more insurance. So they analyzed what makes people make a decision. Because when you're selling somebody something, you're trying to influence their decision, right? And so they spent millions trying to figure it out. Because what they wanted to do, they had several big producers, people that sold a lot and made a lot of money. And this is my speculation. I think it's my observation. I think they were envious of paying so much money to these high producers. It was what they call the 80-20. 20% of the sales force produced 80% of the sales. So they wanted to get it to where we can hire somebody, anybody, train them up and have them be a big producer. Then we don't have to pay these guys the big money. You see? Well, it kind of crashed on. But anyway, the only thing they learned from years of research and millions of dollars is that 90% of what influences someone's decision is unsaid, nonverbal. It's not what you said. One of the main things was the confidence. I can tell. Why did you buy that? I could tell he was convinced. That conviction came through. I had the feeling that he was looking out for my well-being. So these were the answers that they got. And they realized that people don't remember very much of what you say, but they remember almost all of how you make them feel. Words they can forget, feelings they get. We are creatures of exchanging feelings, you see. So as a book distributor, it's important to have the right words to say, but if you've got the conviction in your heart and the compassion that I am here to do the very best for you, I am, this moment is the best moment in all of your billions of lifetimes. You see, I know that. I'm a spirit soul, you're a spirit soul. I'm trying to help you. So this has got to be, you got to know it, feel it, and believe it. And people, they feel that. They feel that. You see? So in our interpersonal dealings with people, it's not so much what you say, but pretty much how you said it. And did you actually believe it? You know? If you can tell somebody that you love them and feel it, then it comes through to the person that you felt it and you believe it. Anybody can say, love you. We're in a world right now where things are getting very cheap. Like we're saying things like, I love this glass. It's awesome. Well, it's not. The glass is very nice. It's a wonderful glass, but it's not awesome. Awesome is like something that takes your breath and you almost faint. So we call it awesome. I'm not sure exactly. Psychologists can tell you why people do this. Or another thing that they love is amazing. I'm having an amazing day. Well, you're probably not. It probably would not amaze me if you told me everything that's happened to you today. You might make me happy. It might be very interesting, but it's not amazing. You see? So we overstate. So, and I can't remember the psychological thing behind that. I used to know it. It'll probably come to me later on. But, we overstate, we exaggerate. You see, why do we do that? Why do we? It really gets down to dishonesty, and I condone. Gee whiz.
Makes us feel good.
Huh?
Makes us feel good.
Yeah, it's an attempt to
Ego gratification.
ego gratification. Why? Oh, your hair is awesome.
Thank you.
Well, it's not. It's very nice. It's beautiful, maybe, but it's not awesome. It didn't make me almost faint. You see? So.
Yeah, like people saying that, I had a spiritual experience while taking a bath in the bathtub.
Right.
With some candles and some scents.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm overstating when I'm saying it was a material. I was just taking a bath surrounded by candles.
And you were gratifying your senses.
I'm gratifying my senses, and I want you to think that I had a spiritual experience. So the fact is, we've lost contact with reality. We know that this material world, subconsciously, we know it's limited. This place is very limited. And I want it to be better. Why? Because I'm from the spiritual world and everything really is awesome there. Krishna is totally awesome. We've all seen awesome. We've seen the real thing. Our home is the real thing where we come from, you see. And we'd like to have it here, but no matter how much we pretend, we can't make it any better than it really is. So people have kind of forgotten that they're part and parcel of Krishna. So their self-confidence is lacking. If you know you're part and parcel of Krishna, then you should be pretty confident of yourself that you're in a pretty good situation. And so therefore, if you're like that, you can speak from your heart. You can speak as a soul, as a part and parcel of Krishna. To someone, speak to them as if they are a part and parcel of Krishna. Jivatma to Jivatma. Now that sets you aside from the rest of the world. The way you deal with people is different. To some people, it's going to be totally weird. Some people will think, oh, you're just not like the guy that's telling me that it's awesome. They'll lump you in with everyone. That's all right. My job is to please Guru and Krishna and to treat everyone with proper etiquette. So, all right. Any more questions? You guys have been awfully quiet out there in Cyberland. Any questions or comment?
I think
Radha, do you have a, yeah, what?
Earlier when we were talking about like when we do things for Krishna, like he's in charge of the results. And then when we do things for our own self, out of our own selfishness, we are the cause of our own results. How does that tie in with like when the Gita says that nothing happens without the will of Krishna? Like everything happens because Krishna wants it to happen. Because sometimes in life things happen and we don't know why. And then we feel things towards God, like we might be angry at God so how is it okay to feel angry at God, or are we blaming God for something we should be blaming?
We're misunderstanding what that means. You see, nothing happens. If is it Krishna's will that you suffer? Absolutely not. Not ever. There's nothing you can do to make Krishna not love you. There's nothing you can possibly imagine to do that would even affect Krishna's love for you one bit. As a matter of fact, there's nothing you can do to keep Krishna's love from ever increasing for you. You see? So, but it's like karma, you do something and now you've got a reaction. So is it Krishna's will? In other words, is it his intention that you suffer? No. But he allows it. Why? Because you earned it. He allows it. I mean, just because he loves us doesn't mean he should stop all the negative reactions that we incur. No, you need to somehow or other someday figure out, dang it, when I do bad, I get bad. You see? Duh, I just figured that out. You see? I brought it on myself. So Krishna may be approved. It's like the judge, the jury finds the defendant guilty. And the judge lets it go. It wasn't, I mean, the judge might be thinking after he heard the whole trial that you're innocent. But the jury says you're guilty. Yes, okay. You see what I mean? So it's not that Krishna wants that to happen. It's not his will, but he allows it. In other words, he doesn't stop it. Does that make any sense? Oh. Yeah, I don't know if I'm using the right words.
No.
Yeah, nothing happens without the expressed will of Krishna. In other words, unless he approves it. Just because he lets it happen, just because he lets the sentence come down on you for your reaction from your action, doesn't mean he was thinking, yeah, that's what I wanted. No, he doesn't want it. He doesn't want us here anyway.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't want us. He doesn't want us in the darkness of ignorance.
It's chain of your own actions which are producing the results, also producing your state of mind.
Right.
Also, all of that, when we are doing something bad, there are always indicators. And always there is a voice inside the conscience which tells you to get corrected.
Right.
And people, they go ahead and do things, bad things, ignoring all of that anyway. Sometimes.
But sometimes we do bad things, and then later on we realize that was not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
That's because at the time that we were thinking and willing, we weren't thinking of Krishna. He wasn't anywhere in our mind. I see this, I want that. Sometimes we might think, yeah, I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to go ahead. I'll deal with it later. All right, so then you did it, you knew better, you suffered for it. Just don't blame Krishna. If we go with, maybe we could blame Krishna if we're going with his flow, if we're following his will 100%, and then bad things happen. Then at least you might be able to say, Krishna, I'm doing what you want. You see? But no, we don't even need to do that. Because if something happens to us that seems negative, or something that we really didn't want to happen, sometimes Krishna does that to train you a little bit. See? We're going to need training
To appreciate the good.
to appreciate the good and to deal with the life that's coming. It's not going to be a rose garden. Living in this material world is never just a party, So, yeah.
I would like whenever we do things and if we are confused, we can ask Guru or our elder if we don't feel like what are we doing or.
Yes, but I always tell people, ask someone more advanced than you. You see, don't get into Gramya Katha,
What's that?
village gossip.
Okay.
Ask someone who really knows. You see, if you need your car fixed, take it to a mechanic that's trained. You see, so if you have something where you need to ask about some trouble that you're having like that, take it to someone, Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, you take it up to a higher level. Because if it's someone that's just rank and file, you never know what you're going to hear. If we were all totally pure devotees, then it would be fine, but we're not. This is like a hospital. And some people have been in the hospital for a long, long time. They're almost well. They're going to be discharged soon. Some people have been here half the amount of time. They've taken half of the treatment medication. They're almost half well. Some people just checked in and they're real sick, but they're getting better and they're taking the medicine. So when you have a problem like you want to talk to the doctor. I mean, if you're in a hospital and the patient next to you is trying to tell you what medication to take, and he's just as sick or sicker than you. And if you're doing like that, don't listen to what the doctor said. You don't need that physical therapy. I mean, you'd say, Prabhu, talk to somebody else, you know. I'm going to follow the authority. So talk to an authority. Highest authority you can get at that time. That's just intelligent. Or you can sit around and banter, gossip with everyone else and listen to their opinion. You'll get all these different opinions, and who knows, you might get the right opinion. You see? I try to tell everybody that. Don't take it with a grain of salt, what people say. You just never know. I remember for 2 years in North America back in the 70s, we didn't eat chickpeas. Or we were only allowed to have 3 chickpeas a day.
Where was that?
Huh? This was back in the 70s. 3 chickpeas a day.
Who rationed that?
It happened from Gramyakata, gossip. I remember I picked up Tamal Krishna Maharaj in New York City. We went out to the Gita Nagari farm. We were going to stay out there for a while. And we went to breakfast the next day. And so here comes the guy serving out, and he gives everybody 3 chickpeas. And Tamal Krishna said, "Hey, why are you only giving me 3 chickpeas?" And the guy said, the brahmachari said, "Well, Maharaj, if we eat more than 3 chickpeas a day, we're in Maya." Tamal Krishna was, he was so upset. Where the hell did you hear that? You know, well, I don't know, Dr. Fred said, somebody said that. Did he have credibility? No, but it sounded cool. And so for 2 years, you know.
Well, a lot of traditions sometimes they start just like that.
It's wives' tales and hearsay, and it's all.
There's no basis for it.
There's no basis for it.
When I was traveling around years ago, before I had a place that I lived all the time, every so often my son would call me and he would say, "Hey, Dad, is it true that such and such, 3 chickpeas or something weird like that?" No, where did you hear that? In the prasadam room.
It's still going around.
He would say, so this always was discussed over breakfast. So I told him after a while of this, I said, "Look, stop eating in the prasadam room. Get your breakfast and go to your room. At least have a peaceful breakfast." Because there were so many people saying all of this because I want you to hear it from me first. You know what it was just, why do people say these things?
That's interesting.
So, but if there's a visiting sannyasi, probably he won't say things like that. I would think most temple presidents wouldn't say things like that. You see? So, all right, I think I've worn everybody out. So good to see and have the association with all of you. Thank you so much for joining in. We're going to post this in yesterday's class. Does anybody have any questions before we go? No? All right. Thank you so much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Hey,
Krishna.
Hey.